Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a First Impressions Friday. I have 5 different drugstore affordable products here to try out with you. I have some Maybelline Sleek makeup and then also e.l.f. Cosmetics, so 5 first impressions on this Friday. So I'm excited to get some makeup on this face, so why don't we go ahead and jump into it. So the weather is just refusing to cooperate this week. I think every single day I've had to film with my ring light, which I really don't like filming with a ring light. I'm not smart enough to understand my camera settings and how to change them when I have to film with a ring light, so I don't know. So sorry if the lighting is off. I am going to start off with my face. Normally I would do the eyes, but I think I'm going to do something pretty simple, and my skin is pretty mad at me, so I think I'll just feel better if I start off with my face. But I'm also really excited because I did get a new foundation. I talked about this in a recent Will I Buy It video. I talked about some new releases from Maybelline, and I said I had picked up a few. So this is the foundation I'm going to use. This is the Maybelline 24-hour foundation. What's it actually called? There we go. Super Stay Full Coverage Foundation. So this is what it looks like. I got mine from Ulta and it was $11.99. I got mine in the shade 130 Buff Beige, and actually it does have a pump, which I think is bomb.com for drugstore foundations. The shade that I wanted was sold out. I can't think of what it was called now, but I compared my Better Skin foundation from Maybelline and I picked out that same shade, but it was sold out. It was the only shade that was sold out at the time. I was like, obviously. I understand, I believe this used to be a Maybelline foundation and then they've kind of like revamped it, is what I'm understanding from watching other YouTube videos. But I did not try the original. Why do they not have the name on it? The name is on the cap. Like the Super Stay is on the cap. Like how, no. That needs to be on the actual foundation bottle. That's going to drive me crazy. But I'm excited to give it a try. I've been on a foundation kick lately. Love trying new foundations. I did put a little bit of a smoothing primer onto my face. I'm going to dot this onto my skin. I'm using my Sigma 3D HD Max Kabuki brush. I'm just going to go ahead and blend this out. So far it looks pretty good for the shade match. Maybe actually a little bit on the darker side for me, which is funny because this was actually a shade lighter than the original one I was gonna pick out, so maybe that's a good thing. So I can tell right away, even with just using like it was about 2.5 pumps, that it is a full coverage foundation. I kind of wondered, because sometimes things say full coverage and it's really like you actually have to build up to full coverage. You have to use a few extra pumps, but I can already tell that that is very full coverage. Like it's immediately just like covering, it's giving me a second skin. I'm not a huge fan of full coverage, but every once in a while I find a foundation like the Urban Decay All Nighter I actually really do like, and I thought for sure I would hate that foundation. And the Laura Mercier, the long wear foundation that she has, I actually really like those, which surprised me. But yeah, I can tell. Let's do a full coverage. Looking at my skin, I have to say that I'm actually pretty impressed that just those few pumps gave me full coverage, and you know, I was able to cover my entire face with just those pumps, and it even did a pretty good job covering. I told myself that I could party like a rock star over the weekend. If you follow me on Snapchat, you know I mean that in a literal sense. And I made a new friend for staying up until 4 a.m. So hello. It covered it pretty darn well though, so that's pretty awesome to me. That really, it took most of the redness away. I can just kind of see that there's a raised bump right there, but that's definitely a full coverage foundation. So full coverage for $11.99. If you are a full coverage girl, that covered a lot. It looks like it's sitting really nicely on my skin too. Sometimes with full coverage, I can notice it kind of doing weird things with the lines. Maybe I can tell a little bit right here by my mouth that it kind of is settling into those lines, but nothing too crazy yet. But of course I did just put it on, so we'll have to see. Of course, this is a first impressions video, so I'll come back and do either some sort of like follow-up review video or just some type of review video regardless in about 2 to 3 weeks, because I like to give products a pretty fair chance and try them a bunch of times. Like with foundations, try them with different primers, brushes, sponges, different tools, you know, and all of that. But so far so good. I'm kind of surprised. I didn't know if I would like this, but it caught my intrigue enough, and for $11.99 I was like, I'll try a new Maybelline foundation, and so far we're looking pretty good. The next thing I'm actually going to do is my brows. I have a new Maybelline brow pencil too, but I'm going to go ahead and pop off camera and do like concealer and bronzer and blush, and then we'll come back to do eyebrows and then start on the eyes. It is so crazy. I just keep looking at my face like I can't believe how full coverage that was. Like a little bit goes a very long ways with that foundation, and it was a touch too dark, so I used a lighter concealer. I used the Maybelline Better Skin, so I probably look a little crazy right now without having everything else filled in, but I was just trying to make it all work out in the end. So I'm gonna move over to my brows. I did get a new brow pencil. This one is also from Maybelline. It's the Total Temptation Brow Definer. This is what the package looks like. This was $7.99 from Ulta, and I was a little bit bummed because they only have 4 different shades of this, and I was between blonde and soft brown, but none of my eye pencils, my eyebrow pencils, say anything about being brown. So I was like, I don't know, I think brown, even soft brown, I think that's gonna be too dark for me, but I was like, is blonde gonna be too light for me? So I wish there would have been a shade like in between there, but we'll see if we can make it work. So this is what the brow pencil looks like. So you have this kind of like, I don't know if I've ever seen a spoolie like this on one end. It's very, very short and kind of different looking. And then we have the brow pencil on the other. Whoa, that looks dark for being blonde, but we'll see. It has the teardrop shape here, and it looks really, really thin. Like it reminds me of the Goof Proof, but the Goof Proof is like thicker, and this is really thin. You guys know I'm not the best with brows. I don't have a big old brow game or anything, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. So I am going to take the spoolie end first, and I just kind of push up the brows at the front, and then I kind of spoolie out where I want the shape of my brows to be. Then I'm just gonna take the pencil and start to fill in a soft line underneath first. And then kind of drag it through my brows, creating the shape of the brow. And then coming out here to create the tail. And then I just kind of do soft strokes to fill in. And then I'm just gonna make some hair-like strokes the best I can at the front here. When I have it pretty filled in, I'll just go through and kind of spoolie everything out. The shade match actually doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty darn close, so that's good. And it was pretty easy to fill in. I don't mind the spoolie being so small. It can kind of get right up in there. Oh, I'm just looking at myself on camera for the first time. Hopefully I wasn't framed during all of that. I have no idea if I was or not. It looks pretty light on camera. Maybe it's because I have my ring light on too, that it's kind of like showing a different effect. But as I'm looking at it in my mirror, I feel like it looks like a pretty good match. I do think the soft brown probably would have been too dark if this is what blonde is. I was just worried that blonde was going to be like really, really blonde. But no, this one is looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the other brow. So I just kind of spoolie the front up and then shape it. Challenging for me to do any sort of like tutorial types of videos because I'm just holding my mirror here. I don't have a table in front of me. I'm just sitting on a bar stool. I don't have a table. I don't have like a nice mirror set up. I don't have anything. So it's like, it's kind of hard. I don't have a cameraman telling me when I'm in frame or blurry or whatever. So I'm like, oh man, these can be tough to make, but I know people like to see them. So I still try to do either once a week or once every other week. You know, trying new makeup or a get ready with me type of video or first impressions or, you know, something along those lines, but they're definitely not my favorite. And I always get accused, like literally every single video, of using a filter, and it makes me feel dumb when people say that because I'm too dumb to figure out my camera settings, and it just makes me feel dumber when people say I have a filter because I'm like, I wouldn't even know how to put on a filter. I just don't know how to do any of that, and I don't know if it's in the camera settings. I don't know if it's in editing. I don't know how people do it, but I don't know how to do it. So when people accuse me of that, I just want to scream at them and be like, I'm too dumb to know how to do that. So like, please stop making me feel even dumber because I just don't know. And I've tried looking at my camera settings. I've tried asking for help over and over in Facebook groups, on YouTube, on Snapchat. I have asked over and over and over for help. And all I really ever get back is that it doesn't look like I have a filter. I'm like, well then why do I get comments every day saying I do? And it's another reason I don't like doing these type of videos, because people are like, I can't actually see you. And I'm like, I don't know. I can see myself on camera. I've watched it on my TV trying to tell, like, I don't know. I can see my pores. I can see my texture. I can see my redness. I can see breakouts. So I don't know. If I had a filter, wouldn't I be filtering that? Like, isn't that what a filter is supposed to be for? So I don't know, maybe I have even what a filter is supposed to do wrong, because I can't even figure that part out either. But I don't know. I have the Sony a5100 if anyone wants to offer me any advice. Like, I just went through the other weekend and spent 2 hours trying to figure out settings, and I changed a few things around, and I swear it did absolutely nothing. Like, I don't see any difference at all. So I'm like, well, that was a huge waste of time. But if anybody notices, or you think you notice any difference, let me know, because that was 2 hours of my life that I wasted on camera settings, so bummer. And I've said this before in a video, but I've had this camera for almost 2 years now, and I never once got accused of having a filter until Wayne Goss did a video saying all beauty influencers use filters. It's the only time I have started getting comments about having filters. And I used that camera for, I don't know, 8-10 months before he did that video. Never once got a comment. So, I don't know. Something to think about. Okay, so there are my brows using the brow definer from Maybelline. I feel like that worked pretty well. Again, I'm not like a brow professional, and like sometimes it can take me a little bit longer to do them, but I felt like that was pretty easy to use. Again, like similar-ish to the Benefit Goof Proof, but not really, because I felt like this is even smaller and more defined than the Goof Proof. So I actually thought it was pretty good. I didn't mind the spoolie. At first I was like, not sure I'm gonna get along with that, but really, I mean, you don't need a huge long spoolie for your brows. So I felt like that worked out really well, and the color match is pretty good too. I think I'm happy with blonde. I think soft brown would have been a little bit too much, but yeah, for $7.99, I'm not mad at that. I felt like that did a pretty good job. So I'm excited to be testing out a new brow product. I'm trying to expand my brow products currently and try new ones, so that's why I wanted to go for the brow definer. But I don't know, you can let me know what you think about my brows. How did I do? So I'm going to work on the eyes next. I got this sent to me in PR from Sleek Makeup. This is an eyeshadow palette in When the Sun Goes Down. So this is what the palette looks like, and this is available at Ulta Beauty. I see it on there for $12.99. So you have a mixture of matte and shimmers. You also do have a mirror, and then there was a brush in here with kind of like the sponge tip applicators, but it fell out and disappeared. So I'll have to find that later before Aries finds it. But I don't typically use those, so I just grabbed out some of my regular brushes in here. So this palette, I haven't even swatched it or anything yet. So I think I'm gonna go through and do just a few swatches so I can get an idea of what we are working with. So let's see here. I have never tried, I don't think I've tried anything from Sleek Makeup actually. Okay, here are the first 4 swatches. This one looks really pretty. I don't think I've tried anything from Sleek Makeup, so this is going to be a first for me. So there are some swatches there. Okay, I just decided to swatch them all out. So those are the first 4, and then I did some more swatches on my arm back here. So they are actually, I mean, they look to be pretty decent. I see some shades that are calling my attention, like even some of these lighter shades, like this light pink right here. I mean, that does not look bad at all. Not a very like funky palette. There's not really any like super crazy bright pops, but I feel like I really like this shimmer. Like maybe I want to try to do something with that guy. I like that there's a mirror in here too. That's nice. So I'm first going to take this shade right here. They don't have shade names in them, but it's just like a light pink shade. And I'm just going to run this all over the eyes first. Wow, that looks pretty. Wow. Okay. I'm just using my Sigma E25 to do this. And then I'm going to come into the second shade there. It looks like a nice transition brown, maybe a little bit on the darker side, but we'll see how we do. I'm going to use my Sigma E40 and blend that into the crease. So I feel like this one is pretty decently pigmented. I was worried it would be a little bit too dark for a transition shade, but I'm just kind of using a light hand, and the Sigma E40 is really a fluffy brush. So it's kind of help making it not be too overpowering right away. So I feel like everything else is pretty shimmery. Like some of the mattes are the like lighter pinky shades. So I'm just going to, I'm just gonna do my best. I'm gonna grab this last shade here in the front row, and again my Sigma E25, and I'm just going to kind of tap that on the outer part of the eye, and mostly just keep it focused on this outer corner. That's showing up really well too. That looks nice. I'm not always the best at coming up with like looks and color creations, and I know people ask me a lot about it too, and honestly, I watch so many YouTube videos and tutorials. Like, I know people are saying that like YouTube tutorials are over with, and I really hope that's not true, because I watch so many to just try to learn and see what colors people are doing and just to get inspiration. That's really where my ideas come from. So far, I'm really liking what we have going on. So now I'm going to come in with a shimmer. So I'm going to grab the third shade right here in the top row. I just really liked how that shimmer looked. So I'm going to use my Sigma F70. It's a concealer brush, but I really like using it for shimmers too. So I'm just going to first not dampen my brush. Usually I will spray my brush with like a setting spray just to make colors pop more, make them more metallic, make them last longer. But when I'm trying out new makeup, I always like to try first just to see, because I know not everybody will use a setting spray. That's showing up pretty well. For my preference, I am going to spray my brush, but I mean, honestly, I did a get ready with me, was it last week? I think it was, maybe last Friday. And I used a shade like kind of similar to this from a Charlotte Tilbury palette. I used it even with a setting spray, and I mean, it was a pretty weak shimmer. And that's a, what, $75 eyeshadow palette? I mean, that's not bad, but let me spray my brush and see what we get. I'm not noticing a lot of fallout on my face either, so that's pretty awesome. What is it, $13 palette? Like, okay. Okay. I feel like this look is kind of giving me like New Year's Eve vibes. And like I said, I mean, I take a lot of inspo from tutorials, and BabsBeauty did one the other day, and she did kind of like a cool toned look, kind of like with a similar shimmer to this, and that look has stuck in my head the whole time. I'm like, I want to do something like that. So when I opened up the palette and I did the swatches and I saw that shimmer shade, like, she's the one that popped in my head immediately. And I was like, yes, that's what I gotta do. Like, I don't know, that's how I get my inspo, that's how I pick my colors and stuff. It's a lot based on other YouTubers and the tutorials they do. I am not an artistically creative person. I can't just look at a palette and put things together, so I really rely on those tutorials. No, people are saying that people should stop doing them, and I'm like, please don't stop, because I won't know how to do my makeup. I completely am self-taught with makeup from YouTube, like 100%. So I'm just gonna take my Sigma E25 again and just make sure these are all blended together. Gosh, I really like these shadows. I'm excited to play more with this palette. There's some really fun shimmers in here. Alrighty, so far so good with the palette. I'm just going to add some liner and mascara off camera and let my camera kind of cool down and such, because it's about to overheat, but so far, first impression wise, so good for sleek makeup. Okay, so I added some brown liner to my waterline and then also put on some mascara. So I'm just gonna finish off the lower lash line. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and mix the first brown that I put on and then also the second shade I put on too. And I'm gonna use my Sigma E30, which is just a pencil brush. So I'm just going to sweep those on the lower lash line. Even that, like, look at how, wow. Okay, sleek makeup. We went to quite the smoky eye. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I totally was judging a book by the cover when I opened it up and it was like, oh, okay, maybe, but hello, do not judge a book by the cover, girlfriend. You are an author, you know that. That is a rule. And I'm just gonna take my same F70 brush and then the same shimmer shade that we use, and I'm gonna apply just a little bit here into the inner corner as well, to kind of open up the eye look too. I really do feel like this eye look is similar to what I did last week with the Charlotte Tilbury, but if you watch that video, I couldn't really give the Charlotte Tilbury palette glowing remarks. I like the mattes in there, but overall, especially for the $75 price tag, I was like, I can't say that it's worth that price. This is $13, and I feel like I just made a pretty comparable eye look to that, and I'm impressed. I'm not really sure what else I'm supposed to say right now. I know this is first impressions, so make sure to remember that, but I mean, I don't really know how you fight with this type of first impression. Impressed. So now the eyes are complete, I'm going to finish off with a highlight and then a lip color. Those are both going to be from e.l.f. Cosmetics, and these were both sent to me as well. I did purchase the Maybelline items, if I didn't say that. I purchased them from Ulta. So this highlight from e.l.f. is called their Highlighting Holographic Duo, and they sent me a couple different shades, and I picked out the shade Mermaid Tail. It says, achieve a radiant finish with dual chrome colors and this holographic duo, perfect for wearing alone or layering. These are $8. on the e.l.f. website. Let's see if I can get it out here. Okay, so this is what the packaging looks like. And then when you open it up, it does have a mirror. And then here is what that highlight looks like. I have swatched these. I did a PR haul on my Instagram stories and I swatched it. And the swatches were just okay to me, I remember. So we will see what they look like on the face. I do like there's a mirror in these. That's pretty handy. I'm gonna use my favorite highlighting brush, my Sigma F03. I got a new one. It's nice and new and fancy. So this side has a little blue in it. So maybe I'll do this first and then I'll put the blue on top. I don't know. We'll try that. We'll try that and see what we get. I feel like I've been being more adventurous with my highlights lately. Kind of doing, oh, okay, that definitely has some pink reflect in it. It's pretty, I mean, it's like subtle-ish, so I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but yeah, it's definitely more pinky than I thought. Let me do the same on the other side. But yeah, I feel like I've been more adventurous with my highlights lately and trying like iridescent and different colors. I don't know if it's showing up. I mean, I can see it, but it's pretty faint. Let me try the blue side and see what we get. Okay, I felt like that stepped it up. And it kind of made it, like those two together kind of made it like a purple. Ooh, okay, that's different. That's different and interesting. Yeah, I felt like the blue really helped bring it together. The white on the other side was kind of not really doing much, but that is super interesting to me that it made my highlight purple. Whoa, that's crazy. So $8 if you're really into the iridescent highlights. You can get a duo for $8, basically 2 different colors. Wear them on their own, mix and match. Okay, that's very interesting. e.l.f. Cosmetics, they have I think 3 different shades of these as well. Again, this one was in Mermaid Tail. I mean, that is definitely how I would describe this highlight. It really does look like a mermaid tail, but okay, so that is the new Holographic Highlight Duo from e.l.f. Cosmetics. And lastly, we just have to finish off with a lip color. I'm really excited to try these because, of course, this is all first impressions, but I've been really eyeing these. These are the e.l.f. liquid lipsticks. They're called, yeah, the liquid matte lipsticks. They are $5. They have quite a few shades in there, and I got mine in Praline. So I'm excited to test these out. I really like liquid lipsticks, and if we can find a good one for $5, you might know that the Wet n Wilds didn't work out for me, which was like devastating, but let's go ahead and check out these e.l.f. ones. So immediately the applicator is kind of reminding me a bit of the Smashbox Always On liquid lipsticks. It's kind of like flat but pointed at the top. Okay, okay. Let's see here. Just gonna dip back in once more. So do 2 coats on the bottom. So far, so good. Here is the shade Praline from e.l.f. Cosmetics on me. So I did, you know, I dipped in twice for the bottom and top, which that's no big deal to me because I do that with a lot of liquid lipsticks. I really like the applicator. I like how it had that pointed tip. I'm not someone who uses lip liner a ton, so it's really nice to be able to have that pointed tip to really round out and line my lips. So I thought that was really nice. It dried super, super fast, and it did dry completely matte. The only thing that, you know, maybe could be a con is that I feel like it really settled into all the lines in my lips, but I am also dealing with really, really dry lips right now. When the weather changed to super cold, my everything is super dry. I am dealing with really, really dry lips, so this might just be something like maybe do a lip balm underneath. That kind of might help. That's really the only con that I noticed, but even right now, I've had it on for about 10 minutes or so as I was letting my camera cool down again. Joey's the Sony a5100, and it doesn't feel really like dry or really tight on my lips. I haven't noticed anything like that. So far, so good on the liquid lipstick. Of course, I'll wear it throughout the day and a couple other times too, and like I said, everything that I used in here was first impressions, so I will have to try them out several more times before I come back, and I will do an update video in the next couple weeks here. But after the lipstick, this is the final look for my First Impressions Friday. Okay, so that is everything for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed the First Impressions Friday, trying out some affordable makeup. Let me know what you thought of everything down in the comments below. What have you already tried, or what are you now eyeing? I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I hope that you will also consider subscribing before you go, and I will catch you guys in my next video.